A Hellfire Club, a lavish party, filled the mansion with music, alcohol, and wealthy guests indulging themselves. Away from the festivities, Emma Frost sat alone in a private room, calmly reading a book while sipping a drink. A sudden knock interrupted the silence. Without looking up, Emma coldly remarked that she had specifically asked not to be disturbed. Moments later, the door burst open and an unconscious guard collapsed into the room. Emma glanced down at her drink before recognizing the visitor. Realizing it was Electra, she dryly noted that if Electra had come to kill her, she wasn't sure whether she would lose more respect for Electra or Wilson Fisk, the man who likely sent her. Electra stepped into the room and admitted she needed Emma's help. Emma immediately questioned why she should assist her and sarcastically added that she certainly couldn't make Electra's boyfriend like her. Irritated by the jab, Electra turned and started to leave. Emma stopped her, admitting she was intrigued and asking what the problem was. Electra explained that she had been seen while carrying out an assignment. Emma rose from her chair and poured herself another drink, assuming it was unfortunate news for whoever had witnessed her work. Electra interrupted and revealed that the witness was a child. That changed everything. Emma's expression became serious and she ordered Electra to show her. Using her telepathic abilities, Emma entered Electra's memories. Her eyes glowed white as she experienced what Electra had seen. The vision left even Emma Frost stunned, and after a moment she admitted it was rare for her to be left speechless. Electra mocked Emma's reaction, pointing out that while Emma was disgusted by her work, at least Electra killed her targets quickly. Emma challenged that claim, prompting Electra to explain. What do you think happens to the ones he gives you? They go broke, they go to jail, or worse? Electra argued that Emma only believed herself to be merciful. She, on the other hand, simply wielded the quick blade. Demonstrating her awareness of her surroundings, Electra suddenly hurled the sai behind her. It struck a guard attempting to sneak into the room, knocking him unconscious. Electra remarked that Emma's victims died by 1,000 cuts rather than one clean strike. She then says, "You've seen her, bright-eyed artist. She needs to forget, tonight, before she talks." Realizing the gravity of the situation, Emma put on her white coat and prepared to leave. As the two women departed, Emma mused that she never imagined she would one day be dragged into charity work for children. While Emma and Electra traveled toward the girl's apartment, Wilson Fisk was already receiving alarming reports from his men. One informed him that the parents of the young witness had gone to the police precinct seeking help. At the apartment, Electra worked on opening the door while Emma casually informed her that the girl was asleep inside and completely alone. Emma couldn't understand how anyone would leave a child unattended at night. Electra explained that the foster care system paid money for each child under its supervision and that, like many systems, it could be exploited. Once inside, they found the girl asleep in her room. Emma noted that the foster parents had already begun imagining a reward for providing information. She warned that the detectives investigating the case probably already had a description of Electra. Looking directly at Emma, Electra grimly concluded that if the police knew, then Fisk certainly knew as well. Back elsewhere, Fisk responded with a simple order: no witnesses. Inside the apartment, Electra suddenly sensed danger. She could hear the building's fire escape creaking under the weight of approaching men. Preparing her weapon, she declared that they were already too late. Emma then suggests, "I've never said this before, but perhaps we should call the police." But Electra immediately dismissed the idea, reminding her that the attackers carried badges and official authority. There was nobody to call. Emma then focused her telepathic powers. Her eyes glowed. That might not be true. This was New York after all. There's always a rube swinging around nearby. At that exact moment, Spider-Man was swinging across New York City while eating a burger. One hand held the food while the other controlled his web line. Suddenly, a scream blasted through his mind. Looking around in confusion, he exclaimed that the scream had been so loud he actually heard it inside his head. Following the psychic signal, Spider-Man raced toward the source. His spider sense was practically exploding as he crashed through a window and landed in front of several armed men. Annoyed that he had sacrificed a perfectly good burger for this emergency, he demanded to know which one of them screamed like a hot blonde. The criminals immediately insisted they didn't want to fight with Spider-Man. The situation had become more complicated for them. Nobody had mentioned having to fight a spandex. As gunmen broke through a door and entered the apartment, they debated what to do. One finally decided that Fisk's orders were clear. No witnesses. They have to finish the job. Before they could act, Electra burst into action. She attacked the armed men, cutting through them and declaring that they would have to kill her first if they wanted to reach the girl. While Electra held off the attackers, she shouted for Emma to leave with the child. The young girl, Isabel, watched the chaos unfold and pointed toward Electra, saying, "Her." Emma gently addressed her by name. "Isabel, such a pretty name for such a pretty girl. I need your help. Can you get me out of here?" Emma assured her and told her not to worry about Electra. She then says, "You've got me as a friend. Think of me as a good witch. I sort of wiggle my nose and fun things happen. Ignore the bad witch and the naughty men." As Electra continued fighting and demanding that they leave, Emma escorted Isabel away from the battle. Along the way, she complained about how bossy Electra, the bad witch, was. She then explained that Isabel had unfortunately become caught up in very adult problems. Emma instructed Isabel to get dressed and to gather anything most precious to her because they would be leaving immediately. Emma and Isabel soon emerged from the apartment and crossed paths with Spider-Man, who was still busy fighting Fisk's men. Isabel asked why Emma was helping her. Emma smiled and explained that good witches like her helped people and are also friends with Spider-Man. While kicking one criminal across the room, Spider-Man called out to Emma, asking who she was and whether she had been the woman whose scream he heard in his head. Emma dismissed him as a dullard and waved at him. "Yes, very charmed. Thank you." Spider-Man, still suspicious, continued fighting while trying to understand the situation. Dodging an axe swing and webbing another thug, he suddenly realized what it looked like. He demanded to know whether Emma was actually kidnapping the child and simply tricking him into helping. Isabel admitted that Spider-Man does seem dumb, but also pointed out that his question was a reasonable one. "Are you kidnapping me?" Now outside, Electra continued dismantling Fisk's men with ruthless efficiency. Emma acted shocked that Isabel would even consider the possibility of being kidnapped, insisting that they were friends. She even offered to let Isabel accompany the bad witch if that was what she wanted. Looking over and seeing Electra violently beating grown men while declaring that their children are better off as orphans, Isabel quickly decided she preferred Emma's company. She bluntly stated that she was sticking with Emma and wanted to get far away from New York. Before they could leave, Spider-Man stepped in front of them and grabbed Emma's hand, demanding an explanation. Emma calmly told him to relax. Then she touched the side of his face and activated her telepathic powers. As Spider-Man froze, Emma gently instructed him to be a dear and tell her exactly what he wanted out of this. As Emma Frost touches Spider-Man's mind, she is flooded with memories from every stage of his life. She sees a young Spider-Man standing after allowing a criminal to escape, believing it wasn't his problem. She witnesses the devastating consequences of that choice and hears Uncle Ben's words echoing through Peter's memories. "With great power, there must also come great responsibility." Emma sees Peter becoming Spider-Man and dedicating his life to helping others no matter the cost. She watches him work alongside police officers and constantly puts himself in danger for complete strangers. She sees him struggling to pay bills, worrying about money, and sacrificing his own happiness to help people who often don't even know his name. She experiences the tragedies that shaped him, including the death of Gwen Stacy and the crushing guilt and heartbreak that followed. One painful memory after another passes through Emma's mind as she realizes just how much suffering, loss, responsibility, and sacrifice Peter Parker has carried throughout his life. After seeing everything inside Spider-Man's mind, Emma Frost is silent for a moment. Looking at him differently now, she softly says that he was just a boy. Moved by everything she witnessed, she leans forward and kisses Spider-Man on the cheek before quietly thanking him for everything he does. Emma then uses her telepathy to guide his attention away from her and Isabel, pointing toward the ongoing fight. She tells Spider-Man that what he needs to do right now is cover their escape and forget that any of this ever happened. Across the room, Electra is still battling Fisk's men, surrounded by bloodied and defeated attackers. Emma tells Spider-Man to go help Electra and, if possible, stop her from sending any more of the criminals to the morgue. Emma leads Isabel out of the apartment building. Outside, a limousine pulls up and a chauffeur opens the door for them. Emma guides Isabel toward the waiting car, saying, "I have a car this way, Isabel. Tell me, darling, do you like ponies?" Isabel stares at the limousine in amazement. She excitedly remarks that she's never been in a limo before and concludes that being kidnapped is actually pretty awesome. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.